So I'm going to reintroduce everybody again, just in case you did not hear it the first time. We have the amazing and the wonderful, the talented multi-genre DJ and also a producer extraordinaire and communications manager for Mixed in Key Products, Sara Simms with us. Sara Simms, how are you doing today?
Good. I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, awesome. I think we got the sound fixed, which is what everyone wants to see. Where they are clamoring to learn. I've gotten some text messages while we had our little hiccup. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Learning the Captain's plugins from Mixed in Key.
Sounds great. Well, we're going to be having a look at Captain plugins today, as Raj introduced. And Captain plugins is a very cool series of plugins from Mixed in Key. And the neat thing about this series of plugins is that all the plugins can connect together and communicate with each other so that you can write the chords, the melodies, and the bass lines in the same key. So let's start off here, building a track. Now you can use these plugins for any style of music, really. Everything from like pop to trap to hip hop to urban to dance music. So no matter what style of music you're working on, you're going to be able to create something with them. So let's go over here, and I'm going to pull up an instance of Captain Chords. So today we'll take a look at Captain Chords, Captain Deep, Captain Melody, Captain Play, and also Captain Beat. So this is the main screen here in Captain Chords. We can choose our key here. You can choose to work in any key. And also any scale, and the scales range from major to minor, and there's also all sorts of kind of jazz scales and some Eastern scales in here, some very cool scales, but the majority of dance music and urban music is written in major or minor. So myself personally, I tend to work with those two types of scales. Now, we're going to be working mostly in the verse tab today. But along the top here, you can see that there's different tabs here for different parts of the song. So there's pre-chorus, chorus, drop. And if I go over here to the play tab, I can actually use my computer keyboard as an instrument, or I can also use the MIDI keyboard as well to compose with. So I'm going to go to the MIDI keyboard here to start off first. And because I've chosen the key of E minor here, as I press down on each key, I'm going to take my volume down here a wee bit. As I press down on the different keys, what's happening is it's actually playing a triad from the E minor scale. So there's the second diminished chord. So one touch of your MIDI key plays actually an entire triad. And if you want to get really fancy, you can actually map different sections of the keyboard here to be different types of chords. So you could have like 7th chords in one octave, and up higher here, you can have this be the chords in the root position. Now, one mode I really like here is I like using the computer keyboard to actually compose some chords here. And this is kind of an interesting way to work. It's great for when you're first starting off. You might not even have a MIDI keyboard to begin with. Or it's also really good for if you just go over to your friend's house with your computer laptop and you can use that to jam in some beats there. So all the triads here from the E minor scale are written across the A to J row. And you have some pretty chords down below, some borrowed chords up the top. And if I press my shift key on my keyboard, actually that's in Captain Play. In Captain Play, when you press shift, you get even more chords. So without further ado, let's go on and we'll start to compose some chords here. So I'm going to press the keyboard and just start jamming out some chords. And then once you have a little chord progression here, you can just drag this up into your DAW. Now, let's go, and you could also press edit here and you can bring the chords that you have just made over into the verse here. Now I had re-recorded and it actually went to the next segment, which is why I just brought one chord over here. Now that we're in the verse tab though, let's start to build some different types of chords here. So first thing that I want to do is I'd like to start with my one chord here. You can see along the top here, there's all different types of chords, and Captain Chords is great whether you're just starting to work on your theory or whether you have a good knowledge of music theory. You can make use of this plugin here. So how this works here is that all these different types of chords here, these are triads that are built on the different notes from the E minor scale. So if I just build triads on top of these here, then these are the chords we have. We have 1 is going to be a minor chord, 2 is diminished, 3 is a major chord, 4 is a minor, 5 is a minor, we have the 6th chord here is a major, and the 7th is a major. So I'm going to do a simple idea to start. I've just made an E chord that's 2 bars long. And then this button here down is a duplicate button. So if I press duplicate, I'm going to get exactly the same chord. So I just want a really simple progression right now. Something like that. And what I can do is I can take this here and I can drag this across to my DAW. I could even simplify this even more. I can delete some chords out here. And maybe I just want something that's just 1 bar E minor, 1 bar E minor. Now let's say I want to do some more chords here. I'm going to bring this back to a 2-bar progression. And I can use this little button up here to split chords, which is kind of cool. And you can also delete something like that. You can add in a chord just like this. And I'm going to go to this F sharp here. And my second chord, I want to make an F sharp minor. So there's an F sharp minor. I'm going to press the add button here. And I'm going to add in another chord here. Let's add in a G major at the end. So here's what my chord progression sounds like. Okay. So I'm going to drag this over. By the way, today I'm going to make a beat that's kind of inspired by Calvin Harris's, actually his new project, Love Regenerators, Live Without Your Love, because I'm a big Calvin Harris fan. So let's close this out for a second. And just because I like to be organized, I might want to label some of these. So this is going to be 2 E minors. This one can be 1 E minor. And then maybe this can be like a bridge or verse or chorus or something, or just an alternate chord progression there. Let's go back into Captain Chords for a minute here, and we'll just explore our other options here, other things we can do. So we can add in a rhythm just by clicking this rhythm button here. And there's different sorts of rhythms available to us within Captain Chords. There's actually quite a lot of built-in rhythms. So these are a good way to start off patterns here. So Los Angeles, one of my favorite cities in the world. Let's see what this like. So that sounds good. So if you're filling a chord progression with the rhythm that you made, you can just continue dragging those parts out to your DAW. By default, all of the chords in Captain Chords use something called a minimize lead. It makes for smooth voice leading between the different chords, meaning that there's not going to be a big jump in the notes. The same way if you gave a piece of music to a piano player, they would make sure to voice all the notes so that there wasn't big leaps between the notes. You can see on my screen here, all the notes are fairly close together. So some other cool new features that's in Captain Chords 5, we're looking at Captain Plugins 5 today, is Mixed Inky has added in some MIDI editing. And we actually didn't have this feature for a long time. People were always requesting it. So it's exciting because now we can do things like add in some other notes, just like this, by dragging well, we can add into notes also like this by actually pressing notes here. And make this go up to an F sharp. Now, you can also increase or decrease the complexity of chords. And what this does is, once a chord is fully formulated, if you increase the complexity, it's going to start to build out a chord that's an octave below it. So, for example, over here, that's changing my octave. Here's the complexity. That adds notes below it. So I can add two root notes, and this would be similar to what a keyboard player would do with their left hand. Add some bass notes. Now that actually sounds pretty good to me. So let's bring that over here. You can also go to rhythm record. And what this does is it allows you to record in a custom rhythm. So I'm just going to click on it here. And then I'm going to press my computer keyboard and I'm going to be recording in a rhythm. So once you've finished there, I just press the done key. I can show you where that is here, done. And then that brings over the rhythm that you had just played into the main verse tab. If for some reason you didn't like it, you can always go back to undo there. Now, let's go into the sound preset menu here and just explore what other sounds we could have. There's a large collection of sounds that come with Captain Chords. So you can click on these here. I'm in the guitar section. Muted guitar sound, that could be pretty cool. The things we can do here is I can increase the strum, and what that does is arpeggio the notes a little bit, similar to a guitar player strumming. You can make it funkier with the swing. And then if I go to this space here, and I go over to Smart Legato up top here, what space does is it actually adds some space in between the notes. So you can see I have less space, and I have more space. I can add some delay. Let's just have a look at the sound presets, just so we can explore what the options are. So I was in the keys, I was using these very nice piano strings here. There's like some bottom sounds in here. There's nice Rhodes. This iWood is nice. Island soft. Piano sharp. There's a lot of very cool built-in sounds. So this is definitely a plus if you're getting into music production and you don't have a lot of VSTs yet, because this gives you a good basis to start with. There's a lot of reed sounds in here. There's some pad sounds. I'll just show you what we have here. And then there's pluck sounds. I'll use the plucks on some other Captain plugins. So let's just go back over my piano strings. Some other things you can do here is you can actually, inside Captain Plugins 5, you can open up your own VSTs right inside the plugin. So if I go to VST instrument here, and I click on contacts, let's open up a contact here. These are all different plugins that have been made compatible with Captain Plugins. And let's just hop down to this hybrid keys here. Oopsie. And if I go down to, say, 90s, what I can do is I can leave contact open as I go back to Captain Chords. And this leaves me free to add in some effects that are internally inside the plugin, delays, reverbs. I can filter this out. Now, another thing I can do is if I don't want to use the plugins inside of Captain Chords, is you can go to VST output. Let's say you want to use a plugin or VST that's hasn't been made compatible with Captain Chords yet. Easiest way is VST output, and there's an output tutorial here that you can pull up, and this will adjust depending on which DAW you're using. So I'm using Ableton. This is going to show me how to route inside Ableton. So you can just read that over on your own time there. But I'll just show you quickly. So if I go to my next piano track here, I'm using the F9 Origins old school piano that a friend had sent me here. And if I go MIDI from, and I select Captain Chords, and then I go Captain Chords, what's going to happen now is Captain Chords is going to route the MIDI over to the F9 Origins old school piano. Right to even. And I'll just show you one feature as well as audio. Down here, it says play audio when closed. For the majority of the time, I want to have that off because that guarantees that when I close down Captain Chords, I'm going to be playing from the MIDI clip that I've actually brought into the DAW. If I keep this open here, even when I close out the plugin, then Captain Chords will be playing whatever is on my screen here. So I'm going to keep that. I like to keep that off. It's just one thing to keep in mind. And I'm going to go to VST output. If I didn't, then I'd actually have the piano strings playing alongside my F9 piano, which is cool if I want to layer my sounds, which maybe I do, maybe I don't. For now, let's just keep it simple, and we'll keep the one sound. So that is Captain Chords. There's actually one more cool feature that I'll show you here, and then I think before we move on to the next plugin, we're going to take a couple questions. Is that right, Rosh? Captain Chords?
We can keep going. I think actually some people had some questions. Looks like from the we got one of their social media questions. They asked that you can edit the MIDI after you drag it into your DAW, right? Like you have the multiple. You don't have to edit it inside Captain Chords, right?
No, you do not have to edit it inside Captain Chords. You can totally edit it as per usual inside your DAW. I should show everyone now that you can edit MIDI now inside of Captain Chords.
That's so awesome. That's great. You can adjust the length like that.
You can adjust the length. You can make more.
That's a new feature.
This is a brand new feature.
Awesome. That's great. Awesome.
You can add notes. And then another thing you can do is, like, let's say you want to use this type of chord progression in the chorus. I can go to the chorus over here, and then I can paste in these chords here. And maybe I want to record my own custom rhythm here, or I want to switch up some of the chords. You know, go back to a simpler chord progression or something. So, and then I could drag this out to my DAW as well and have that be a chorus clip. So you can start building out your track that way.
Very cool. And so this is just the first of the Captain's plugins.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Let's check out. Let's go ahead and check out the next one.
Okay. Okay. So next plugin we're going to have a look at is going to be Captain Melody. And Captain Melody is a very interesting plugin for making melodies. You can also use it to make bass lines, which is kind of a kind of a top secret technique I'm going to show you. So first thing you want to do here is you want to press connect. And what this does here is it connects Captain Melody to Captain Chords, and Captain Melody has read the chord progression from Captain Chords. So I'm going to go into the sound presets just to start off here, and I'll grab a...
So they're actually talking to each other right now.
Yeah, they're communicating.
Nice.
They're communicating. So when you press the connect button, it's like, you call me on Zoom, right?
Nice.
It opened up the lines of communication.
That's great.
Okay. And if you press the bracket keys, I'm just going to use my computer keyboard to play all my notes in here. That makes the notes go up or down an octave. So the brackets on your keyboard switch to octave. So right now, these notes are just little purple notes. These are ghost notes right now. They're not actually committed notes. If I press clear, I can clear out all my little ghost notes there. So I'm just going to start the beat running, and I'm going to record a rhythmic idea for the bass line. I'm not going to worry about what the notes are. I'm just recording the rhythm. Okay, let's take the first one there. So I'm going to just erase the second one here, and I will go back to my first rhythm. So that sounds good there. So what I'm going to do, I'm just kind of fixing up one or two notes here. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to go to the Move tool here. And you can use a very cool feature here in the Move section here. You can use the chord degrees to compose a bass line here. So Mixing Keys created this cool color section. The roots, the third, and the fifth are all colored blue. And those are the most stable notes within a scale, the root, the third, and the fifth. So these are all solid choices for a bass line. The fourth and the sixth, those are green notes. Those notes have a little bit more tension. And then the yellow, the second, and the seventh, these notes have the most amount of tension, and they always want to resolve to something. So if you use one of them, you have to remember to move to another note after. So I'm going to keep my first bass line note here, E. My second one, I'm going to make it go to a B, but I want it to octave box, so I'll press this button. And I'll continue on here. Maybe this one I can do F sharp. This one I want to go down to a D. I'm going to move this up to the octave above.
Wow.
Good to me. So I like my bass line idea.
Now, just to point out that you used just one note to make the idea, the rhythmic idea, and then it referenced the chords that you already have laid out in the progression, so that you could just use theory, even though you didn't need to know theory to make that progression right there.
Yeah, I used the color system here, kind of helped to guide me to the right notes. And
that's awesome.
Because the plugins had connected together, I'm always able to be on the right notes. There was no wrong notes that I could have picked within the chord progression here. So I'm going to be picking all notes that are harmonically compatible so far with the chords there. So what I'd like to do next is I'm going to go VST output, and I'm going to have chords M1 here. This is a kind of old school recreation of an old school synthesizer, and there's a lot of good kind of old school sounds in it. I'm going to have this playing my bass sounds here. So let's do the routing, Captain Melody. Captain Melody, set the monitor to in. Now let's go back to Captain Melody, and I need to drag out this here, which is an octave below. Now let's also make sure that this is just 4 bars long here. Please and thank you. Actually, 2 is fine. And if you want to do any fine editing, you could totally do this inside Captain Melody. You can also do it here in your DAW as well. And I'll just show everybody quickly what else I put. So I have, if you're just wondering what else you can use here. Oh, I don't have my Universal Audio sound card plugged in. I did have a UA plugin on it, just a compressor. I don't have that on right now, so the sound is probably not quite as thick as it usually would be. And then I've used FabFilter's Saturn 2. Just to give some warm distortion sounds there. And then I'm using, by Cable Guys, I'm using volume shaper. And what this does is ducking the beginning of my bass waveform. And this is allowing my bass just to sit a little bit better with my keyboard. When you're composing any sort of dance music, I think the most 2 important elements, at least for me, are the bass and the kick. So you want to make sure that those 2 are kind of married together in a pocket groove, but they're not interfering with each other. So I always use volume shaper here, and it shapes the bass sound so that the kick comes through. So moving on next, I'm going to do some more on Captain Melody, so keep those questions coming in to Raj there if you do have questions. So what else can we do with Captain Melody? Well, let's compose some more melodic lines. Now, if you're like me, no song is complete without a 303. And I think Calvin Harris would agree with me because he uses the 303s and everything from his new hit with The Weeknd to his Love Regenerator dance project here. So definitely classic bass sound that can't seem to live without here. So let's try out the 303 sound here in Captain Melody. I'm just going to clear out these notes here, and I'm going to try to play them into the best of my ability on time. There's a zoom lag, sometimes slows me down, but let's see how it goes. One note like okay, there we go, done. Let's see what happens. Sometimes what happens is in some bars, things happen a little bit more smoothly than others. So let's just copy over the bars that sound good here. I think I did a couple behinds. Okay, very cool. So from here, if I wanted to, again, I could go to my move tool here. And because this is a 303 line, you might not want to make so many adjustments because a lot of, if you're using like 303 stuff in your productions, and I really encourage everyone to because it fits so nicely with everything, you might just want to check it out. There we go. So you could maybe I want this back just on the E for now. Let's just drag out this one note melody here. No sense in making things more complicated than they should be. And let's also just do a version that's 1 octave down. So I was on E2. Okay, so there we go. So now we're on E1. So let's drag this out here. Okay, Captain Melody is going to go into the VST output mode. And on my next channel here, which is Roland's Clouds TB303, let's open this guy up here and let's get an acid sound going on. Okay, so I just checked it. Okay, so just some tips and tricks on using this here carefully. So I just have a clean saw wave. There are 2 types of waveforms on this. There's a saw and a square. Let's make some adjustments to this here. Using the envelope mod. And if I was writing a whole track with this here, you would hear a lot of modulations just going on with the envelope modulation. Sweet spot here, you start to hear sweet spots here. I think we have an uneven bar length here. Let's just cut this down to 4 bars. Some other things we can do here, let's just solo this out so people can get some of this. You can increase the delay.
Now what you're doing right now can be done in any plugin. The Captain plugin is routing into a new VST, which you're using the Roland. So to recap that for everybody watching, this could be any plugin that you want. Right now we're using the Roland plugin.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go. So we have an acid line. You know, just another line that could be in the production at some point. Just a little thing, right? Next, let's continue on. Actually, it will take some questions about Captain Melody.
We have Thiana watching, and she's very happy with the plugins, and we have some other people who said that they will get it. I think let's see here. I think Sean, one of the users, said he's looking forward to getting it. So that's good. I think people are learning about it, which is awesome, and they're just taking it in. So if you have questions while you're watching, please let us know. We will definitely address them. Let's go ahead and continue on.
Okay. So next up is Captain Play here. In Captain Play, we have 2 different modes here. Sometimes I call Captain Play like the jamming plugin because you can use it to either jam in chords or also melodies here. So if I go to play melodies, actually let's start with play chords. I'll just quickly go through this here. So play chords allows you to play in all the chords from the E minor scale. Okay, and this looks very similar to Captain Chords. If you press spacebar, you'll get, not spacebar, shift, you'll get even more chords here. So you have access to 7th chords, group position chords. There's some pretty chords down here. So you could use this to put in some more chords for your production. The MIDI keyboard here is exactly the same as we saw in Captain Chords, except on the side, we don't have all the options for quantizing with all the different rhythms. There is this quantize option for when you're recording, but we just don't have the rhythm, the specialized rhythms that are in here. So you have to put your own rhythmic ideas in as you're composing here. Now, if we go to play melodies, you can use the MIDI keyboard. So you can use a MIDI keyboard as you would use a regular MIDI keyboard. You can also use your computer keyboard here, and this is my favorite feature of Captain Play, because all of the notes that you play are in the key of the scale. So anything that you're playing is going to sound complementary to the rest of the song that you've written here. So let me just turn up the volume a little bit, just because we only have a pluck sound. And one way that you might use this would be, let's say you've started a beat just like I have, and now you want to compose the line for the singer to sing. You want to compose the top line. So this could be a good way to compose your top lines here. So here is one idea. So there's one idea there. So I would just take that up here. Okay, and make this into a 4-bar idea here so that there's 2 bars of silence after it. Go back to Captain Play for a minute here. And let's say you want to add to your idea. You can record some more. One thing you do have to do that I didn't do here is you have to make sure that your clip is stopped. My clip was playing, which was making the plugin flash a bit. So there's the first part, second part, and then melody continues on here. So that could be another part to the melody here. So we're just writing all these different melodies here. And you might want to do some tweaking here in your DAW. Set this to a 4-bar idea. Do all the tweaks in just right inside your DAW here after Captain Play. So
for those that are new, the DAW that you're referring to right now is Ableton, but remember it works in any DAW that supports plugins. So Captain Play works in all of the major DAWs or beat making programs that you could ever purchase.
Yeah, that's right, on both Windows and Mac. So
nice.
Both there. Now let's go on and let's do a couple more here. So back to Captain Melody, there's even more things that we can do in Captain Melody that we haven't done yet. So next I'm going to show you how you can use the idea box here. So if I go into the sound presets here, and I slide over here to the waiting clock. This is a really beautiful sound. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to create an idea box. So to do that, I just click on idea, I click plus, and then I'm going to take this down to a 1 bar idea here. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the rhythm tab here, and I can increase or decrease the number of notes here. And every time I press update rhythm, I'm going to get a different melodic idea. And just so we can hear this a bit better, I'm just going to turn off some of these elements. Maybe we'll turn up the volume on this a little bit too, so we can hear it just a bit better.
Wow.
Now if I go to shape here, as I increase the shape and the leap values here, I'll also get some different ideas here. And every time I press update shape, that's kind of a cool one there. So some things I can do here, I'll just show you some of my ideas for making melodies here. Well, I could either have the melody repeat twice. Maybe I want nothing in this second bar here, and I want to take this idea over to this other bar here, and maybe I want to do the exact same thing, except start on the E, because now I'm an E. And I just think I need to start here. Just kind of like that. And I could also, let's say I want to create an idea box at the end here to end the melody with something different, which might be a good idea. I just go like this here. And I can go to my rhythm tab here. I could add some rests if I want, more or less rests. Other things I can do here is I can go to the first note tab and I can decide what types of notes I always want my melody to start on. So for example, I have the root and the third. Every time I click update, we're always going to be starting the melody here on the root or the third. And if you go to the lanes tab here, this allows us to select the probability that a certain type of note is going to be in our melody. So let's say you want a very, quote unquote, like a very safe melody, right? Do you remember we learned that all of the blues here, the roots, the thirds, and the fifths, those are the most stable notes within a melody. So if I could take down all of the notes with more tension and just have a melody that was composed entirely of the roots, the third, and the fifth, all of blue notes there. Now, I do want to live on the edge a little bit, so let's see what happens when I crank some of these guys up here. All right. That sounds pretty good. You guys like that melody? So just to teach a little bit about melodic writing techniques here, in a 4-bar phrase here, what I've created is two A sections, two sections that are very similar. So we call this A, and this would be a B section here in the melody. Sometimes if you have 4 bars, there you can divide them up, so you have something called an A, B, and A, B melody pattern. So you have one melody, then a different type of melody, back to the first melody again, and then maybe to the second, or maybe to a third different melody at the end. So you could also have an A, B, A, C section. And this was a technique that Avicii used to use a lot in his melody writings. He's known as a great melody writer of our times. So you can use Captain Melody here to your advantage in the idea box to help you get some of these melodic ideas going. And just even if we further reduce this here, like let's say you're writing something that's obviously not like a hip hop or a trap beat, but here's just we have a bass and a simple drum beat.
I love that Lanes has the ability to tweak the probabilities that those notes show up. I think that's amazing, and that you can edit them like that. I mean, that's lightning fast ideas. If you guys are watching at home, I can't stress enough the once you get the hang of this and you're not just experimenting for the first time, this is lightning fast addition to your productivity. This is cool.
Yeah, and a lot of I find a lot of new music is very minimal as well. Like there's a lot of beats with just one little melody, right, and some 808 basses and stuff. So it's something. This is Captain Melody is a great tool for quickly making beats, especially if you're doing a lot of beats for like BeatStars, or you're doing a lot of beats for rappers and artists, and you just kind of have to churn those beats out, right? So. Right. So this can be your best friend for writing some simple melodies and also complex melodies for your beats too. You could also use this just to give you ideas on how you could use it. You could use it to start some ideas, and then maybe you want to take these ideas over to your DAW and then tweak them a little more from there. You could certainly use the grid in here as well. You can also, one thing we didn't explore, you can brush on notes.
Wow.
I could brush on notes with different note lengths. I can change the note length as I brush them on. So there's really a lot of different options here.
That's amazing.
It's a very unique plugin, and the way that it works is very interesting, once you kind of get into the workflow of Captain Melody. So we covered a lot of ground with things we can do with Captain Melody, because we covered how to make a bass line, we covered how to make a melody, we covered how to make some secondary melodies. So there's a lot you can do with this plugin, and it has the same capabilities as all the rest of the Captain plugins. You can open up plugins inside Captain Melody. You can do VST output. A lot of the sound presets sound so good. When I'm working with Captain Melody, I would just choose a sound preset and stick with that. So that's Captain Melody. Do we have any questions about Captain Melody?
A couple have came in on the chat as far as compatibility. Someone asked about Serato, and I just want to point out that that is Serato DJ is different than Serato Studio. But it does work with Serato Studio because Serato Studio does plugins. So you guys that have that out there, it does work with Serato Studio. Any plugin compatible DAW for Windows or Mac, this is going to be a great tool for you.
Roger, I actually have to double check if we are fully compatible. I know we don't support Serato Studio. We're not officially supported.
Mm-hmm.
They might work though, but yeah. I can't give word 100% that it's going to work closely because it's not officially supported.
I think it's they say on their forums 60, or not forum, but their FAQ, all 64-bit VST and AU 64. So as long as you're running 64-bit and you're not on an old computer, you should be good. But because the Mixed and Key team is so awesome, what she's saying there is that they go in and make sure that everything is super perfect with each program, and they just haven't gotten around to doing the super perfect check with Serato Studio yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of different DAWs out there now, so it does take time to become officially compatible with, with each and every one of the major platforms. So if we don't have any more questions about
I think they're ready to see the next ones.
melody, then let's go on here. So Captain Beats.
Oh, wait. We got a question that says, does it work with just a MIDI keyboard, like you've said? But what if someone has a push from a Kai?
Yes, you can certainly use your MIDI controller, right? You can use I mean, MIDI's MIDI, right? So you can use any MIDI controller with any of these plugins, right? Like with Captain Play here, if we just go into Captain Play for a minute, you can use your MIDI keyboard. You could use your Kai controller, for example, to play in these notes here, or you can also use your computer keyboard. So yeah, you can use any MIDI device. I want to stress that you don't have to use a MIDI device though, because these plugins are set up just so you can use your computer keyboard, but you can certainly use them with your hardware though.
And everything that you've made today has been using the computer keyboard.
Yeah. Yeah. I really take advantage of, I think, the what these plugins have to offer. And one thing that they offer is you don't need to use your MIDI keyboard. You can use your computer keyboard, right? Because a lot of the functions I've showed today have not been composing melodies necessarily using the keys. It's just rhythmic ideas, right? And then we can use the plugins to tweak the notes.
That's amazing. Let's see the next plugin.
Okay, so Captain Beat here. So I'm showing this last. You totally start off with Captain Beat here. Depends how you like to build up your tracks here. What I'm going to do first is I am going to select, I'm going to go to my collection here, and I have actually built out a drum kit. I used samples from BPM Create. I got myself an account there, yeah. And if you sign up for an account on BPM Create, you get 75 free samples. Is that right, Raj?
That's right, up to.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so all of the samples I'm going to be using are from BPM Create here. Now we have new features in Captain Beat. This is Captain from Captain Plugins 5 here. It has these cool fills that we can turn on or off. Just so I can show you how to use the plugin, I'm just going to turn those off here, and I'm going to clear everything out here. Okay, so we have a lot of different sounds. Just let me turn up the volume here way back. Okay, so a couple things I can do here. I just want to draw everyone's attention to these little letters that are beside the different types of drum sounds. These once again correspond to notes, not notes, keys on your computer keyboard. So you can use your computer keyboard to play in the drum sounds. So just let me play in my open hat. I'm going to use my F key to play it in. So I got the rhythm in my first bar here. Oopsie. Oh, I started messing around with these when they were just ghost notes. Let me just clear those out. Let's just record that one more time. Okay. So no need to overdo it. Done first. And once you have a pattern, you can just drag that out. So there we go. So I have a nice open hat. Now let's go to the closed hat here, and I'll just show you, you can also pencil in some different notes here. Usually I'll do maybe just one bar here. And then I can highlight all these. So this kind of works like a traditional editor. Yeah, so other things I can do here is I can go to controls and I can start to adjust some things like decay and the holds. Let's get some claps going in here. I'm going to add in some claps at the end. And then I'm going to add in on the snare sounds here. If I go to basics, that's definitely very snary. I want to change up the sound here. I want to change the sample. And I'm going to show you how you can drag in your own samples here. I go to my desktop. And let's see. So I'm going to use a clap sound here. Let's just drag that right into Captain Beat, and I just drag it right on to my snare. And then one thing I can do here is I can go to the effects here, and I can put some delay and some reverb. I could export this here. So if I go to export, I can export the master MIDI or the master audio, or if I wanted to, I could choose to export the channel MIDI or the channel audio, and that would just give an individual channel here. In this case, I would probably export just the master MIDI here. Now, you can also make a lot of quick little loops here, and then you can export the master audio. You could bring it on to, just different audio tracks and add some compression, some distortion, play around with them and make your own loops there.
That's amazing. It's that simple. Just any version of the export you want is just that simple.
Yeah, it's very simple here. And I'll show you actually another cool feature that we added in Captain Plugins 5 here. If I go to, let's say, this tambourine here, and I want to grab a rhythm, I can go to this mixed in key official collection here, and I go to foundation rhythms, and there's all these interesting rhythms that have been added in, like lots of different classic rhythms that we'll see. And we also have here, we have different artist kits as well that different artists have made for us. So wow. There's a Jack Masick kit here. There's JS Beats, who's made some trap beats, so you could try his ideas. We have Kiva NYC, who's created some beats here, and then Polaris DNB is a drum and bass producer, and he has created some drum and bass rhythms. So, I mean, you could really try out any of these ideas, right? And see how it sounds. And then you can also do a bit of mixing here. And I go to export, and I just export that there. It's really adding a lot to my track. From a reverse track. I've really gotten a lot of different ideas going. I have the chords, I have the melody, I have the bass line, I have the melody, I have some ideas that a vocalist could sing, at least a couple little things there. and then I have Captain Melody. So that's my session there. And then I did some drums on my own as well, just so I had a bit of a foundation to start. But you could totally use, if you're just getting into beat making, you could use Captain Beats and some of the samples from BPM Creates to create your own drum kit there.
Thanks, Sarah. And we got a question actually from the chat. Mixademic asks, can you use Captain Beat with MIDI too? Because I saw that it works with the computer keyboard, but does it work with like a drum pad controller as well, the Captain Beat?
Yes. Yeah. The only thing you'd have to do is you'd have to find where these samples are mapped. But I believe they would be mapped. I can't say definitively, yes. I can't guarantee it'll be mapped in this exact order, but they would be mapped across a MIDI keyboard, yes.
Awesome. So yes, you can trigger it with MIDI as well for the Captain Beat plugin to Mixademic, who's watching too. And someone asked, DJ Total Chaos asked if Captain Beat integrates with Captain Chords. Is it connecting and talking at the same time?
No, it's the only plugin that's a little bit separate. You can see there's no connect option. It actually would be cool if they connected, because then you could do your kick drum, right in key, right?
That's if it was labeled right, because sometimes, sometimes some people don't swear by the kick being exactly, on a certain particular key, some people don't, subscribe to that. So it's such a weird, like, some people prefer it, some people don't. I don't know if that would be, it would be cool to have the option though. Yeah, that'd be cool. But yeah, right now they don't connect together. The beat does not, it's separate on its own. More timing related, right, to the DAW.
Yeah, well, all of the timing of all the Captain plugins, they're all slaved to whatever you have in your DAW here. So 128. If I change my BPM, that's going to change the BPM of everything.
Good.
So,
okay.
Yes, awesome. Your DAW, your master tempo there.
Some great questions today from everybody watching. Thank you very much for watching. Yeah, let me see if we have any more. Oh, I got one that's from the chat. How much does it cost?
So Captain Plugins is $79, and it includes Captain Chords, Captain Melody, Captain Play, Captain Deep. So you get the 4 plugins there. And then we also have a package that you can pick up mixed in as that you can pick up a Captain Beat as well. And that's $99. And then we also have a plugin that really, I'll just take one more second to show you guys if you have one more second here. We also have Mixed in Key Studio Edition, and then we have a producer package that includes Captain Plugins and Mixed in Key Studio Edition. And Mixed in Key Studio Edition is cool because it takes the technology behind Mixed in Key and it puts it into a plugin version. So we can use this to discover the key of our track. So let's go down to Mixed in Key here. We have Mixed in Key Studio Edition. One thing we could use this to do is we could put this on top of Captain Melody here. And if we go into here, the notes mode here, what the plugin is currently doing is it's having a look at the notes in this melody and it's telling us what the notes in the melody are. So that's kind of good to know if you have a friend who sends you a keyboard line and for some reason you want to find out what the notes are. Now you can also use this, let's say, on the master. So let's take this over here. Let's say you wanted to find out what the key is of an acapella or something that you just got. So, you have someone send you the acapella and you can go into the keys mode here. and you just have one thing playing. Right now, I have the keyboard that I'm playing, and I see that the key is E minor, which it is in fact. You can also use this on kick drums. You can use it on any type of sample. So it's a really cool plugin as well. And yeah, just finds the key of whatever sample you're using very quickly. So a real time saver in the studio.
Yeah, definitely for people that are working with loops that they maybe have gotten from friends or just loops in general. When maybe you've downloaded it and you've renamed it, you forget what key it is in, or you made it on your own and you didn't have the knowledge, or you didn't make it with mixed with the Captain's plugins, right? So you just kind of wrote this cool melody, but you're not a theory person, and you're like, man, what chords should I put with this? That is a really useful tool for that. And it's really cool that you guys have a bundle that includes that too.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So that is our the producer. It's called the producer pack. It's on if you go to shop.mixedandkey.com, you can see what we have available. But yeah, if you want to pick up Studio Edition, then there is a package with that with Captain plugins.
Amazing. Amazing.
Any more questions about any of the Captain plugins or production in general? I'm happy to answer.
Let's see here. I think we answered most of the questions that came in. If anything comes in the last second, I'll throw it up. But otherwise, I think it's pretty good. Everybody's kind of asking if it's going to be available on demand, which it will be, because if some people have not had enough time to stick with us through the whole occasion, and some people were in at the beginning, but we started a little bit late because of technical difficulties. But we are all good, and we got everything running. I'm so thankful for your time today, and thankful for everybody watching's time. Sarah, you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself, your music, how to find you, and how to connect with Mixed in Key online?
Sure, absolutely. Well, I'll just share about Mixed in Key first because it's what brought us here today. So you can check out, we have a couple of different websites for Mixed in Key. We have Mixed in Key, which is our flagship DJ software. So to any DJs who are tuned in, you definitely want to check out Mixed in Key for all our harmonic analysis. And you can check out our standalone program. We also have a Captain Plugins website, so you can check out all the Captain plugins that we had a look at today. And at Mixed in Key right now, for the producers out there, we have a music innovation contest running for 2020. And it's a cool concept. You combine together two different genres and enter a track, and you can win up to $27,000 worth of different audio prizes and gear.
Wow.
So you can check that out. That's all up on our Captain Plugins website. But it's only open until October 21st, so you got to get going on your track soon. So that's what's going on with Mixed in Key and Captain Plugins. And then myself, I am a producer and composer as well as DJ. And you can find me on SoundCloud, Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, also Mixcloud. I'm Sara Simms on all those platforms. And on Facebook, I'm DJ Sara Simms. I make my own tracks, and I have my own label called Simmetry Sounds. And I focus on techno production, and sometimes I throw some scratches in the mix as well, because I'm a turntablist too. So, and oh yeah, also check out my YouTube channel as well. It's youtube.com/Sara Simms Music.
Awesome. Well, those are all the wonderful ways that you can connect with the wonderful people at Mixed in Key, Captain Plugins, and of course with Sara Simms as well, talented producer and DJ turntablist. Don't forget about that. She's really rad. Check her out. Make sure you connect with her, and make sure you connect with us across the platforms, BPM Supreme and BPM Create. Remember, if you join BPM Create, you can get up to 75 free credits. So join now if you're not already. And of course, bpmsupreme.com for all of your music needs for the DJs out there that are spinning on the live streams or have some capacity of nightclub in your town during this COVID time. We appreciate you rocking with us. We appreciate your time today. Thank you so much, everybody. And until next time, I'm Raj with BPM Supreme. Stay safe and have a good night.
Thanks, guys.